What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV. Today we've got a very special video. I'm breaking down the multiplayer overview from Call of Duty's Infinite Warfare presentation. This was about a 7-minute long video that just flew through a ton of stuff that's going to be in Infinite Warfare this year. There was guns shown, there was attachments, there was lethal equipment, there was new specialists, or what they're called now, combat rigs. There was just a ton of stuff, and a lot of it flew by extremely quickly. So in this video, I'll be showing each and every little bit of information that pops up throughout this multiplayer overview. I'm just going to be going through. I'll show you every single weapon that pops up in a menu screen. I'll show you every lethal. I'll show you all the combat rigs, and we're just going to discuss them. There's a lot of stuff that flies by really quick. There's a lot of information in this video, so strap in. First thing that we're talking about today is weapons. As you can see on screen there, we've got the EBR 800. This is the second sniper rifle in the game. This is the standard level sniper rifle. There's nothing special about it. This is just the regular old gun, and it's a semi-automatic energy rifle. It says you can hold whatever button to activate assault rifle mode for automatic fire and reduce power consumption. So this is that sniper that switches from a sniper rifle into an assault rifle. We've seen it in trailers before, but the real focus of the sniper rifle in the multiplayer overview is to explain how variants are working this year. So variants are completely different from what they've been in previous years. Instead of just having completely different statistics for every single variant, what variants do this year is they go up in a certain amount of levels. Once you actually unlock those variants, or once you purchase those variants, or however we're going to actually get our hands on the variants, you're going to have different weapon traits. So like Modern Warfare 3 weapon traits are kind of back. When you rank up to the common version of the EBR 800, you're going to have a brand new weapon trait, and they did show each of the different versions of the EBR 800, whereas most of the other weapons in this trailer, in this multiplayer overview, they only showed the epic variant for whatever reason. They just really wanted to show off those epic variants and show off some of the crazier traits that are going to be in this game. But we'll go through each of the variants for the EBR 800 first, starting with the Requisition, which is the common variant. So this is the easiest one to get, and all you're going to get for a weapon trait on the Requisition is Stockpile, which is going to increase your ammo. So it's really not that great of a trait. Of course, it's just a common, so you wouldn't really expect it to be anything better. Next, we've got Rare, which is Particle. And Particle is going to give you the Jackpot trait, which allows kills to grant an additional 10% score. So you get 110 score instead of 100 score for every kill, say in Team Deathmatch. So that could help you out in the long run, especially because it's a sniper rifle, and sniper rifles aren't usually as good for most players for getting score streaks, so having that extra little bit of score is going to help you out a lot. Next, we've got Readiness, which is another trait on the rare version of the EBR 800, and Readiness is going to allow you to reload faster when the clip is completely empty, and that's going to stack with Dexterity. So Dexterity is probably going to be a perk that we're going to get in the game as well. Next up, we've got the legendary variant of the EBR 800, and that is the Purge, and this is one of the cooler ones. We've now got a nuclear trait, but the nukes are going to work a little bit different in this game. So nuclear, the trait, you're going to have to get a 25-player kill streak that will earn you a tactical nuke, but you can only get that tactical nuke if you have this trait on your weapon. And what I've heard is you have to get all 25 kills with the weapon that has the nuclear trait on it. You can't switch to a pistol or anything like that. If you are using the nuclear trait on a certain weapon, like the EBR 800 Purge, you have to get 25 kills with the EBR 800 Purge to get the nuke. So that's going to be ridiculous. A nuclear trait on a sniper rifle, I don't know how many people are going to be able to do that, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what other kind of weapons this nuclear trait gets put on, because clearly the traits aren't specific to one weapon each. They're going to be jumping around. They're going to be on certain different weapons and certain different variants of different weapons. So maybe we'll get the nuclear trait on an SMG or something easier to use, and it will be a lot more achievable. The other trait that we have on here is Stability, which reduces recoil, and that stacks, of course, with a foregrip. The last trait that, or the last variant for the EBR 800 that we see in this video, is the Osiris. This is the epic variant, and the Osiris has Hunter Killer, which tags enemies at low health, so you can see enemies like through walls if they're at low health, and then you can just pick them off with this sniper rifle. And sharpshooter, which increases your damage range, which stacks with a particle amp, which I do believe I have in the attachments section of this video. But it's just going to increase your damage over range, so that at longer ranges you're not going to have as much weapon bullet drop off, so you're going to be doing full damage almost all the way out to the farthest reaches of the maps and of this weapon's range. So that's pretty crazy. It's definitely a weapon that you should be fearing when you get up to that epic version. Now we're moving into all of the other weapons that were shown in the video. Now I've got a bunch of pistols, shotguns, there was some assault rifles, there was some SMGs, some returning SMGs, which are pretty interesting. Before we get into any of the craziness that is the epic variants that they showed off during this video, I'd like to actually discuss the menus themselves. As you're seeing here on the Oni, we've got handguns, launchers, melee, and classic up at the top. But what is classic? This is something that wasn't really discussed that much at the event, and it's not something that they actually got to experience at CoD XP because it's something so special coming to this game, and I cannot wait for this classic section. The classic section is in primary weapons as well as it is in secondary weapons, and what the classic section is ballistic weapons from previous Call of Duty games remastered into Infinite Warfare. One weapon has been confirmed for the classic section so far, and that is the intervention sniper rifle from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So get hype, we've got a new intervention coming. Of course, it's not going to be the absolute same because they're always going to tweak something when they bring in a new kind of weapon or when they remaster a weapon. There's always going to be tweaks, but we've got an intervention coming into this game as well as a bunch of other classic weapons. I'm hoping to see like the UMP-45. I'm hoping to see some classic Modern Warfare 2 weapons. I don't know if we're going to get Modern Warfare remastered weapons like MW, like Modern Warfare Call of Duty 4 kind of weapons in this game, because it's being remastered and being sold with the game already as it is. Maybe we'll get them, maybe we won't. I'm expecting to see more stuff from Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, let's look at this Oni. This is one of the handguns in the game. It is a fully automatic energy pistol. It features a harmonic microcontroller that accelerates fire rate over time. So the longer you fire this weapon, the faster it's going to fire. So that just there telling me is telling me that it's going to have a pretty substantial magazine size if you're going to be able to hold the fire rate and have it extend and have the fire rate keep speeding up over time. It's got to have a half decent magazine size to be able to do that. It looks like a pretty sweet weapon, but the epic version of this weapon that we do get to see in today's video looks a little bit more appealing. So the Oni Kaken is the epic variant of the Oni, and instead of firing at fully automatic, it's going to now be a semi-automatic charged single shot pistol. So basically now you're going to hold the trigger, it's going to charge up a single shot, and it's going to fire one bullet, and then you're going to have to reload. So this is extremely crazy. It says charged semi-auto energy pistol modified for extreme power, and it's got of course overcharge, which makes it a charged powerful single shot, and focus, which reduces idle sway while aiming down sights. And as you can see down there at the bottom, the damage has now increased to 90. So this is going to be an incredibly powerful pistol, and it gets a nice camouflage at the same time. One thing I should have mentioned at the beginning of this video, each variant that you get for your weapons is actually going to change the appearance of your weapons as well as how your weapon works. So it's actually going to add awesome new camos and all kinds of crazy stuff. I hope they stay kind of with I hope the camos kind of stay on the weapon even when you put other camos on top of it, so that it kind of gets this layered effect and you can have multiple camos in the game. That would be really cool. Next weapon that we've moved on to here is the EMC. This is the first pistol in the game. Nothing too special at all. We've got a semi-auto energy pistol, reliably delivers consistent stopping power. And it's just like a basic pistol, right? You're like, no big deal. It's just like a standard EMC. Like it's like the standard pistol that you get in every single Call of Duty game that's a single shot. No big deal, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at the epic variant, the EMC Sovereign. This thing is absolutely ridiculously insane. We've now got the trait Lucky 7. This gun unloads half its magazine on each shot, and the trait Readiness, reload faster when clip is empty, and that stacks with dexterity. We've already seen that on another weapon. But the EMC Sovereign goes from being a semi-automatic pistol to being a 7-round burst energy pistol that commands superior stopping power. So now it's going to fire 7 bullets at once. Absolutely ridiculous. Of course, we also get that awesome new camouflage on there, but 7 bullets at once. It goes from shooting 1 to 7. Ridiculous. That's half the magazine in one shot. So you get 2 shots and you have to reload, and you've got 7 shots in each. It's just insane. These new traits are making such a difference in this game. They're completely changing the name of the game, and I cannot be more happy about it. I'm actually super hyped about this. I'm actually going to make a reaction video to all of the Infinite Warfare stuff a little bit later. This video, we're mostly just focusing on the actual factual stuff. So moving on to the next weapon, I think I've got a shotgun here. Yeah, the Reaver Rodeo. We don't get to see a common or a regular version of this weapon. We only get to see the epic. This is a shotgun, the first shotgun in the game, and what it says here is semi-auto ballistic shotgun, features a cyclic drum magazine for quick trigger response. And what I think of when I see cyclic drum magazine, I think of that shotgun in Black Ops 2 where you, or was it Black Ops 2 or was it Advanced Warfare? I'm not sure, but it was one of those it was a shotgun in one of those games where you shot off 4 shots and then you had to turn the barrel, and then you could shoot 4 more and then you could turn the barrel. I have a feeling that's what this gun's going to be like. However, that gun back then, it was a fully automatic, and then you turn the barrel and then it was fully automatic again. This one does say semi-automatic, so it's going to be like you shoot off like your 4 shots or whatever by pulling the trigger each and every time, and then you turn the cycle on the drum, and it just looks like it's going to be a pretty cool shotgun. It's going to be different. There's a lot of shotguns in this game that, or shotguns or guns in general in this game, that are going to be very different. A lot of the weapons are very, very unique. Everything acts a little bit different. They're definitely very futuristic. The Rodeo's traits are surplus. Enemies explode and drop score streak packs for your team when killed. So they're dropping score streak packs. Does that mean they're dropping care packages, or does that mean they're dropping like points or something? I'm not really sure what it means by dropping score streak packs. And stockpile increased ammo, which stacks with extended mags. So pretty cool shotgun that we have there. The next image that you're going to see is actually the FTL combat rig. I'm not looking at the stuff on the right side of the screen right now. Instead, we're looking at the actual weapon. This isn't an FTL exclusive weapon. This is just another shotgun in the game that just hasn't appeared in any other menu system. So I've shown it here on the FTL combat rig kind of card. On the left there, we've got the Banshee Rocksteady, which Banshee, I'm kind of worried, are we getting a Banshee like the Banshee from Black Ops 3? Is that what it's going to be like, or is it going to be more like a regular shotgun? We're not sure yet, but we've got the Banshee Rocksteady, and that's the common version, and the gun perk is Stability, which reduces recoil, and it stacks with 4 grips. So that's kind of interesting. We'll be coming back to this combat rig image a little bit later when we talk about combat rigs. Moving into actually another combat rig suit, the Warfighter is using the NV4 Vigilance. This is the first assault rifle that you get in the entire game, and he's using the rare version, which of course is the Vigilance, and it comes with the Sharpshooter gun perk, which increases damage over range, and that stacks with rifled barrel. Now, we may be getting more than one gun perk on the NV4 Vigilance and on that last weapon as well. Probably not the last weapon, as it was a common, but you'll notice when we get into a further image, you're going to see another one of those combat rig images, and it will show 1 gun perk, but I actually got an image of the same weapon in the menus, and it has more than 1 gun perk. So those images are not to be completely believed. There may also be extra gun perks on those weapons. The next weapon that we're moving into here is the R3KT, or the Rect. I love the name of this weapon. The standard assault rifle is called the R3K, and then they just add that T on there for the epic version. It's got a really sweet camouflage, this nice red metallic camouflage. It's a fully automatic energy rifle, applies extreme stopping power at precise, slower intervals, and the 2 traits that the Rect have are Breakpoint. This weapon fires as fully automatic with reduced recoil, so maybe it's just a burst fire weapon before it becomes an epic. It definitely seems what that's getting at, and it's got stockpile, which increases the ammunition as well. The next weapon that we're looking at here is the KBAR 32 Invective. This is another assault rifle. We actually almost got full knowledge on all of the assault rifles in the game. So the KBAR 32 Invective is a fully automatic ballistic rifle. It channels a fast fire rate through a lightweight mold for increased hip fire control and mobility. So it's kind of going to be like more or less an assault rifle SMG kind of hybrid weapon, if it's got a lightweight mold that increases hip firing control and mobility, speed, and all that stuff. So it's more or less an assault rifle SMG hybrid. And for the invectives traits, it's got Jawbreaker, which is really cool. Increased headshot damage, reduced damage towards the leg. So you're going to want to be aiming up and hitting people in the head, and you'll be doing more damage. That will probably stack with high caliber if that is in this game. And we also have stability, which is reduced recoil, and that stacks with foregrip. Pretty cool. I like the idea of how we have traits that increase your damage to a certain area of the body. You're actually going to see one a little bit later that's kind of hilarious, and we'll talk about it when we get there. The next combat rig that we're looking at here is the Striker combat rig, and he's using the Type 2 Frenetic. This is the only place where this weapon kind of appears in the menu system. However, you do see it in quite a few little clips during the multiplayer overview video. The Type 2 Frenetic is an assault rifle. This is obviously the common version of that assault rifle, and it's got the steady gun perk, which reduces hipfire spread, and that stacks with laser sight. Now you might be thinking, oh great, like it reduces the hipfire spread, why do I care on an assault rifle? Well, this is a very special assault rifle. The Type 2 Frenetic is an assault rifle, but you can actually activate its hybrid mode and rip the gun in half to make two akimbo or dual wield SMGs. So that's pretty insane. I'm pretty hyped for this weapon. A lot of people have been saying that it's really, really good. I can't wait to just be able to use it because it adds a whole new layer to using this weapon. You can use the assault rifle at long ranges, and then when you know you're going to get into a close range engagement, rip it in half. You now have your SMGs, and of course that gun trait is going to increase your or reduce your hipfire spread, so it's going to make you have tighter hipfire spread, and you're going to be a lot better when you're using the SMG version of this gun. The last assault rifle that we have here is the Volk Goliath, and clearly the Volk is that KN-44 assault rifle, AK-47 assault rifle that we have in every single game. There's always a gun that looks like the AK-47, that acts like the AK-47. It's just renamed or re-engineered. The Volk is a semi-automatic energy rifle. It deploys best-in-class stopping power with single-shot action. Now, what I'm thinking is the Volk Goliath is actually going to change this weapon from a fully automatic to a semi-automatic because of the traits. The first trait that we have on the Goliath is Spike, and Spike deals increased damage but fires one bullet at a time. So that's telling me that this weapon is normally a fully automatic, but when you put on this, it increases the damage, makes it a semi-automatic. The other trait that we have for the Volk Goliath is Focus, which it reduces idle sway while aiming down the sights. So the Volk looks really cool. It's one of the higher up assault rifles in this build anyways. In this build, it shows that there's 5 assault rifles. There's likely going to be more. There's usually like 6 or 7 assault rifles in every Call of Duty game. So I'm expecting to see more assault rifles past the Volk, but even the Volk being the final assault rifle, it makes sense. It brings back that classic feel of the AK-47 being the final assault rifle that you unlock and being the best assault rifle in the game. We're moving on to SMGs now with the ERAD Cerberus, and we've got a picture of it in the combat rig suit image, in the combat rig suit for Synaptic, and then we're also going to have an image of it in the menus. And this is definitely a very, very interesting weapon, that's for sure. So we've got the ERAD Cerberus, and it is epic. And the gun perk that it shows on the combat rig suit menu is the Master Key, which is an underbarrel shotgun with regenerating ammo. Of course, returning from Modern Warfare 2, the Master Key is just an unstoppable weapon, just ridiculously powerful. I think it might have been in COD 4 as well. I'm pretty sure it got its start in Modern Warfare 2 though. Now we've got it in the menus here, and like I said earlier, there are more than one trait on the epic weapons. So even if you see an epic weapon and it shows one trait in that kind of combat rig menu, you've got more than one trait on the actual gun. So the ERAD Cerberus has another trait, and that is Stability, which is reduced recoil, and that stacks with foregrip. But the Master Key, it's got a little bit of extra information here. It's got an underbarrel shotgun with regenerating ammo, so you're never going to run out of ammo on your Master Key. When you stop using it, it's just going to start charging up your ammo, and you're going to be able to use it again. So the ERAD Cerberus is a full auto energy firearm. Hold triangle to switch to shotgun mode with regenerating power cell. So this is a very, very cool weapon. SMG shotgun hybrid, more or less. The next weapon has got me more hyped than anything in this universe. We've got the return of the Ripper from Call of Duty Ghosts. This is one of my favorite weapons of all time in any Call of Duty game. I don't care if you didn't like Ghosts, you had to like the Ripper. It was an amazing weapon. It's a hybrid SMG assault rifle where you actually hold a certain button and it toggles into assault rifle mode. You pull the gun apart, it gets a sight that pops up, and you now have an assault rifle version of it. The full gun has made a return for Infinite Warfare. As you're seeing here, you're seeing the epic version, which is the Ripper Bosozoku, and it is a fully automatic ballistic firearm. Hold whatever button to toggle assault rifle mode, and integrated hybrid sight enhances longer range engagement. So just like the COD Ghosts Ripper, you're going to see this sight pop up, and it's going to help you at longer range with your assault rifles. It just, oh my god, the Ripper's back, guys, and it's got this sweet pink Japanese camouflage. I cannot wait for this weapon. I'm so hype. We've got two amazing traits on this weapon as well. The first trait, as I was mentioning earlier, the craziness of the traits in this game. This trait is going to deal bonus damage when you shoot enemies in the groin rather than headshots. So now you're aiming for people in the groin area and you're going to do extra damage instead of doing the extra damage in the headshots, which is definitely interesting if you're not very good at getting headshots and you want to have a different area that's going to do extra damage. Now you can aim at people's balls, and it's kind of a funny trait. I like how they're actually implementing these traits, how they're making it a lot more fun. They're not just super serious traits, there's fun traits, and they're just making the game just like an arcadey kind of game, and it's just going to be really fun. The other trait that we have is steady, which is going to reduce your hip fire spread, which of course stacks with laser sight. So that Ripper, oh my god, bright pink Ripper, I cannot wait to get my hands on it. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be one of my favorite guns in the game, I can tell you that right off the bat. We're moving into LMGs here. We've got the Raw Liberty. I don't know what RAW stands for, but this is a fully automatic energy weapon that offers a dependable fire rate and a high capacity power cell for sustained output. And on the Liberty, we've got two traits. The first trait, Make It Rain, it says doubles the magazine size. You can no longer reload. Now, we were actually trying to figure out what that meant the other night. We were thinking, oh, maybe it means you can't reload until you fire off all of your ammunition. My theory is that once you put on this Raw Liberty and you get this double magazine size, maybe it puts all of the ammo that you have on this weapon into the magazine, and once you run out of ammo, you're done. I think my idea is a little bit more believable. But the second trait that we have here is Haste, which slightly increases movement speed, which of course is very helpful on an LMG, because LMGs tend to slow you down ridiculously in Call of Duty games, and now you have this kind of increased movement speed so you can move around a little bit faster. Mauler is the second LMG in the game, and we've got the Mammoth Epic variant here. The Mauler Epic variant has two traits, the first of which is Heavy Hitter, which deals double damage at a slower fire rate, and Sharpshooter, which increases damage over range, and that stacks with Particle Amplifier. And this weapon looks really, really good. It's already a fully automatic heavy energy weapon, a reinforced dispersion muzzle, plus ultra rapid fire into a tight hip spread. So it fires extremely fast and it's extremely accurate from the hip. And then these two traits that are stacking on top of it, you've got Heavy Hitter, which slows down the fire rate but increases the damage twofold, and Sharpshooter, which increases the damage over range. So this is going to be a very powerful kind of LMG. Again, we've just got crazy traits in this game that do a lot to each of these weapons. We're looking at the Merc combat rig now, and it's got the Titan Scout, which I've also got in a menu image in just a second. But the gun perk that it shows here is the Hacks, which gives the weapon a custom Hacks sight. The other trait that it's going to get is Stability, which is reduced recoil. So you've got this special custom sight on this weapon, and then you've got reduced recoil on top of that. The Titan Scout is an LMG. It's got a really cool camouflage. It's like green and blue, and it's kind of faded. And of course, the fully automatic energy weapon that delivers high damage with strong recoil. So of course, that Stability stacking on there, reducing the recoil. It's going to be a easier weapon to use when you're using the epic version. The last set of weapons that we're looking at, I believe, is the sniper rifles, and the first of which is the KBS Longbow Stasis. That's a common sniper rifle that appears on the Phantom Combat Rig suit menu, and its gun perk is Focus, which is reduced idle sway while aiming down the sights, which is always helpful when you're using a sniper rifle, especially a bolt action sniper like the KBS Longbow. The next KBS Longbow that we have access to in this video is the KBS Longbow Harbor, Harbinger, and this is the epic variant. The KBS longbow is a bolt-action ballistic rifle, one shot, one kill from the waist up, rechambering, break, scope, aim. Now we've got awareness, which is minimap stays active while scoped, and that's kind of stealing from Destiny a little bit. That is a trait that appears on a couple different weapons in Destiny. And then you've got stockpile, which is increased ammunition, which stacks with extended mags. So this weapon is, and it's kind of got like this ghillie kind of image to it, so it got like this wrapping around it. Kind of reminds you of All Ghillied Up from the Modern Warfare Remastered campaign, so that's kind of interesting. That is it for the weapons that we saw in this video. We're moving on to attachments at this point, starting with the particle amp. This set of attachments is the only set of attachments that we see in the game. I'm not sure what weapon it goes on, what weapon class this set of attachment goes on. I'm assuming something like SMGs or something, because it does have a Kimbo down there. So maybe it's for pistols, I'm not really sure. But we do get a look at 4 of these strange new attachments. We don't get a look at the auto sear, which is the only other attachment that I wouldn't know what it does. But we've got quick draw particle lamp, fusion mag, Faraday slug, stock, ram servo, suppressor, laser sight, auto sear, and akimbo. So of course, auto sear, only one that we don't get to look at, but sounds pretty powerful. First up is particle amp, and that increases stopping power at long range. So it's kind of like a long barrel or something like that. The next attachment that we actually get to look at is the fusion mag, which is something like a fast mag. It enhances energy ammo recharge rate even when stowed. So even when you put your weapon away and you take out another weapon, it's going to start recharging and it's going to fill up the magazine for you. So when you take it back out, you're going to have a fully stocked weapon in your hands. So that's pretty interesting. You don't have to worry about reloading your energy weapons anymore. You just kind of throw them away, take out a different weapon, use it for a bit. When you come back to it, it's going to be fully loaded, and that's pretty cool. The next attachment is the Faraday slug, which increases headshot lethality. Basically your high caliber from Black Ops 3 returning in this game. And then the final attachment that I didn't really know what it was before now is the ram servo, which creates additional reflections on energy shots, increases damage against equipment. So this is very interesting. I'm thinking, additional reflections, does that mean that lasers in this game, like weapons that shoot lasers or energy projectiles, are going to bounce off walls? Maybe they can only bounce off certain substances, maybe they can only bounce off glass or certain flat areas. Not exactly sure, but it's kind of got me worried that we're going to have like people shooting around corners. Like if you get really good at how to reflect your energy shots, will you be able to kind of like wall bang people and shoot people around corners before they're even at you or anything? That would be definitely really interesting to see, and I'm looking forward to that actually. I'd like to see an extra little bit of skill put into this game, where if you're using an energy weapon and you have the skill to shoot around corners and stuff, you can do that. Now we're into the lethal equipment. It showed us in this video, in the multiplayer overview, all 10 pieces of lethal equipment in this game. It did not show tactical equipment. It only showed lethal equipment, but 10 pieces of lethal equipment. I've heard so many stories about how the lethals are insane in this game and that they really need to tone them down because it's just explosion after explosion non-stop the whole game, and the explosives are apparently very powerful now. They did say in the multiplayer overview that they're bringing lethals back into the pick 10 equation in a big way, so clearly they're trying to make these explosives more usable now. In the most previous Call of Duties, we haven't seen a lot of explosives. Usually people use them to get their challenges done, and then they just go to using straight up attachments and perks, because the lethals and tacticals aren't as effective as we'd like them to be, but apparently they are really good in this game, which could change the dynamic of the entire game. So the first grenade that we have here is the cluster grenade, which is a cookable grenade that explodes into a series of smaller blasts. So it explodes and then it's kind of got like a napalm effect, I would say, where it blows up around that grenade as well. Then we've got the plasma grenade, which is more or less your Semtex. It's a sticky grenade that sprays burning plasma in all directions. So it's like a Semtex mixed with a thermite. You kind of stick it and then it shoots out in all directions like this fire. Next up is the Seeker grenade. We've seen gameplay with this in the campaign. I didn't think this grenade would be coming to multiplayer, but I guess it is. And it's an autonomous sticky device that seeks out nearby enemies and then explodes. So it's going to crawl around, find an enemy, and grab onto and explode. So that's pretty interesting. The next one is the dreaded trip mine returning again. I thought that they were done with the mines and all that stuff in Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare, all that was left was the explosive drone, and it wasn't really that good. So I'm like, okay, good. We're getting away from the trip mines and the bouncing betties and all this other stuff that encourage camping. And now Black Ops 3 brought back the trip mine and the shock charge. and it looks like Infinite Warfare is bringing back a trip mine as well. Magnetic mine that detonates when an enemy interrupts the beam. So that's kind of annoying. I have noticed that the beam is a little bit different on this weapon though. The beam shoots straight up out of the trip mine in what I've seen of it in game. So maybe you have to put it on walls and stuff. Maybe you can't put it on the floor because people won't interrupt the beam. I'm not sure. But the next lethal explosive that we have in this game is the exploding drone, and that is a launched aerial drone that explodes on impact or remotely with whatever button, or by double tapping square or X, which is the buttons on here are kind of blanked out just because they haven't narrowed down what system this is on yet. So it just says like impact or remotely with blank or by double tapping blank, but we know it's going to be double tapping square or X. So this is definitely a weird one, a launched aerial drone that explodes on impact. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm definitely interested to see how it does work. The next one as well, I'm not really sure how it's going to work with the TAR or the TAR, is a rocket-propelled system that delivers a timed sticky plastic payload. That's really hard to say, but very interesting, like a launched explosive. I don't know how these launched explosives are going to work. Definitely interested in seeing how those are going to turn out, especially because there's like so many lethals in this game. They all have to work a little bit differently from each other to be worth being put into the game. So they're all going to have to perform a little bit differently than the last one. So the flechette grenade that we moved on to now is a grenade that splits into multiple propelled grenades on impact. So basically War Machine but put into a grenade. You throw it, it hits the ground, it blows up into multiple grenades. This next lethal has a lot of people up in arms about this game. The black hole projector, it creates a singularity that pulls in enemies with crushing force. Apparently it's very powerful, but it seems like it's been dulled down from what it was at previous stages of the game. Apparently it is just ridiculously powerful. It's an instant lethal. You throw it down, and if an enemy is close enough to it, they just get sucked into the black hole and die instantly. So maybe they need to like tone it down so that you have to pretty well be touching the black hole projector to get sucked into the black hole. I'm not really sure how they're going to balance that, but it seems pretty powerful. The biospike I'm very excited for. This is a thrown ballistic knife that explodes on enemy impact. So you hit an enemy with it and it will explode and do damage to other enemies in the area. It will blow up cars in the area and kill other enemies. It looks pretty crazy. It gives it makes the ballistic knife, or the biospike, the throwing knife, the tomahawk, whatever you want to call it, it makes it a lot more usable in a fast-paced, futuristic game. It makes it much more worth it to use this weapon. Whereas before, when you're, say, in Black Ops 3, when you're using the tomahawk or the combat axe, it's kind of hard to use because everyone's like jumping around, flying around all the time, and people are usually running around in packs and stuff. So when you come up on an enemy and you throw that tomahawk, you kind of get screwed over because you can only kill one person with it, and it's so slow, and you're at such a disadvantage. Whereas the biospike, you're going to be able to kill the first guy, it's going to explode and damage the last guy as well. The final lethal that we have access to in this multiplayer overview video is the C4. C4 is more or less in every single game. It's in them all. C4, like, you can't go wrong with C4. It's the same way that it works in every other game. High explosives that stick to surfaces and can be detonated remotely with whatever or by double tapping whatever. So those are all the lethals that we had access to in the multiplayer overview of this game. Now let's talk about combat rigs. Combat rigs are replacing specialists in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and these specialists or combat rigs are going to be a little bit different. Instead of having one weapon and one ability, they're going to have 3 payloads that you can choose one of and 3 traits that you can choose one of. Payloads being your specialist weapons and abilities, and traits being persistent perks that are unique to each combat rig. Now the first one that you're seeing here is the Warfighter. We're going to go in depth on the Warfighter a little bit later, as well as on the Merc and the FTL. The Synaptic, Striker, and Phantom did not get as much showtime, but they did kind of flick by them really quick, so I've got as much information as I could grab on each of these combat rigs. The Warfighter, it says here, is an assault class battle rig outfitted for operating in a variety of situations, and the 3 payloads it has are Claw, Combat Focus, and Overdrive. The 3 traits being Ping, Persistence, and Resupply. Now, as we go through, you're going to see a little bit of extra information on each of these, so you don't have to speculate as much. Welcome back to the Combat Rig Warfighter card. We've got the payload, which is the claw, which is a rapid fire spread shot firearm with ricochet ballistic rounds designed to take out the enemy in front of you and around blind corners, aim down sights for focus damage. And the trait, we've got ping, which is very, very hard to see, and it says kills and assists activate a sonar ping at the enemy's death location, revealing nearby hostiles to teammates. Enemies killed by teammates after being pinged will give you bonus score. So sorry, that was a little bit hard to read on my screen, but that is basically ping from Call of Duty Ghosts returning. There's a lot of Call of Duty Ghost-esque stuff in this game, I have to say. The claw, there's another look at it up close. It's the same description there, no big deal. Combat focus is his second payload, combat focus being the exact same from Black Ops 2, or Black Ops 3 I mean, where you gain double streak points for a limited time. And of course he also gets overdrive, the same as Black Ops 3, where you gain a temporary speed boost. The Merc is the second combat rig. They go a little bit more in depth on this guy as well, but the Merc class battle rig focuses on heavy defense and suppressive fire, and he's got the Steel Dragon, Bull Charge, and reactive armor for his 3 payloads, and his 3 traits are Infusion, Man at Arms, and Shockwave. So we're going to get a look at a couple of his abilities. We're not going to see them all, however. So here we're back at the combat rig card, and these are 2 of the payload. The payload and trait are 2 of the abilities that you're going to actually get a little bit more in depth on. So the payload, we've got Bull Charge there, which is charge forward, leveling all enemies in your path, and the trait being Shockwave, which is pressing a button in air will activate a devastating slam. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like the Exo Slam from Advanced Warfare, returning for the trait. There's a lot of aspects from previous Call of Duties in this game all mixed together. We've got Modern Warfare 3 stuff, we've got Advanced Warfare stuff, we've got Black Ops 3 stuff, we've got Call of Duty Ghost stuff, all kind of commingling into one game. It's pretty cool. The Steel Dragon, they flip by really, really fast. I've heard that this is one of the best weapons in the game. The Steel Dragon is a heavy beam-based weapon with multi-target tracking. It kind of reminds me of the EM1 being a heavy beam-based weapon. I'm kind of feeling EM1, but like supercharged version. The next weapon that we have a look at is the Bull Charge, and they actually explain this pretty well in the multiplayer overview. Charge forward, leveling all enemies in your path. Basically what this is a riot shield that you pick up and you run really fast and knock people out of your way, and it's just like an instantly lethal riot shield. It's pretty insane. They don't actually cover reactive armor, so we're going to skip over to his traits, the first of which being Shockwave, which is press a button in midair to activate a devastating slam. Like I said, it's basically Exo Slam from Advanced Warfare returning. The next one is Man at Arms, which is rig augmentations allow for carrying heavier loads with minimal effort. Start with maximum ammo capacity, and weapons don't impact movement. So that's going to be really useful if you're using, say, an LMG, or you're using some kind of heavier weapon. You're going to be able to move at full speed no matter what. And of course, you're starting at maximum ammo capacity, so that can be helpful for a weapon that doesn't have as much ammo, maybe like an SMG or something. His first trait is Infusion, and they talk about this one in the video a little bit more in depth. Infusion regenerates your health a little bit faster after taking damage. The next combat rig that we have access to in the multiplayer overview is the Synaptic, and this is a C6 class remote operated droid optimized for speed and close quarters combat. So this is kind of like your Spectre in this game. It's got the Equalizer, Reaper, and Rewind traits or abilities or payloads, whatever you want to call them. These are the 3 traits that he gets. He's got Combat Burst, Rundown, and Propulsion, and these 3 traits are not explained as well. You kind of get a little bit of an explanation on some of them. Here we have the Synaptic combat rig card, and the payload is Reaper, which is switched to rapid melee combat mode, and the trait down here is press a button to quickly dash in any horizontal direction. So that's going to be like your exo kind of boost that you had in Advanced Warfare, where you could kind of like jump from side to side. That is definitely really interesting. For his weapons, he's got the Equalizer, which is a dual integrated machine guns with built-in suppressors for close quarters combat. So it's like a Kimbo kind of machine guns or something like that are suppressed. That's pretty crazy. It's probably going to be really powerful. I've seen people using the Reaper ability, which is switched to rapid melee combat mode. Basically what happens, it's kind of weird. The robot goes down on all fours and starts running around like a wolf, and he's like running super fast, and he's running through, and he's like insta kill meleeing people. Like, he runs extremely fast, and he's just like He's just swiping at people with his arms and just kicking ass. It looks like a pretty powerful ability, but it's very, very strange. It's just one of the strangest abilities I've ever seen in my life. As far as traits go, we've got Combat Burst, which is a brief boost to movement speed after every kill. We've got Rushdown, which is that exo kind of side-to-side dash that we had in Advanced Warfare. Press a button to quickly dash in any horizontal direction. And Propulsion, which is a faster recharging jump pack that also damages enemies directly within the jump pack blast. So you're going to be able to use that, and it's going to be like Afterburner from Black Ops 3, so you can boost around a lot more, and it's also going to damage people when you jump, so that's pretty interesting. The next combat rig that we have here is the FTL, and they talked about this one a little bit in the video, but they didn't really go into too much detail, and there's not any menus that actually pop up for any of his abilities, unfortunately. But the FTL is a prototype FTL class battle rig that utilizes bleeding edge technology to ensure combat advantage. So he's got the Eraser, FTL jump, and phase shift payloads, and he's got the supercharged perception and power slide abilities. Now they quickly explain what the Eraser and power slide do in the video that they have. The Eraser is a handgun that instantly evaporates people. It's kind of like the Annihilator. It's like a one-shot kill, kind of like pistol. And then the power slide will actually enhance sliding capability that increases speed, distance, and allows you to aim down sights while sliding. Also has a diminished boost cost, so you're going to be able to slide a lot more, you're going to be able to slide faster, longer, and you're going to be able to aim down sights. On the FTL combat rig card, we also have access to another payload, which is the FTL jump, which is a localized FTL burst that moves you a short distance forward. So this is kind of like the advanced movement from Advanced Warfare, like that side-to-side burst, except it's going to be a forward burst, which is kind of crazy. The second to last combat rig that we are shown in the multiplayer overview is the Striker class battle rig, which is equipped with gear for enemy suppression and squad support. For his payloads, he's got the Gravity Vortex gun, the Micro Turret, and the Centurion, and for his traits, he's got Relay, Trophy Drone, and Hardened. We don't really get a look at any of his abilities apart from what we see on his combat rig card, the first of which being the Gravity Vortex gun, which is a prototype launcher that fires a slow-moving projectile which distorts gravity, pulling in and damaging enemies. And then we've got the Trophy Drone, which will destroy one incoming lethal grenade and then slowly recharge. So that's like your trophy system from previous games, but it's built in. You don't have to worry about deploying it. It will just instantly destroy the first lethal that's thrown your way, and then after a short recharge, you'll be able to destroy another lethal drone that is thrown your way. The final combat rig is the Phantom. This is the sniper or the assassin, and the Phantom class battle rig specializes in concealment and long-range engagements. He's got the Ballista EM3, which is going to be some crazy amazing sniper rifle, I'm assuming. He's got Pulsar and active camo, which active camo being invisibility from the same active camo that's in Black Ops 3. And then he's got marked target, rear guard, and heightened senses for his abilities. The only things that we do get to see are on his combat rig card as well. So marked target being damaging enemies will mark them for death, preventing health regeneration for several seconds. Marked enemies that are killed by teammates will reward you with a bonus score. So I don't know if it's going to mark them through walls or anything like that, or if it's only going to keep them from regenerating health. Of course, that's not going to be that effective in hardcore when you don't regenerate health anyways. And then for his payload, he's got active camo, which renders you almost invisible. So that's just your active camo returning from Black Ops 3. That basically makes you invisible for a short time. We have now moved into score streaks. So the full score streak list is here. I don't know if they're going to add more to it. There's not that many score streaks compared to the score streak amount in like Black Ops 3, but obviously we are going back to score streaks. We don't have the 3 system with the special, the assault, and the support. We've just got score streaks now, which is cool by me. I mean, score streaks has been a pretty staple system in the Call of Duty franchise for a while now. For our score streaks, we've got the UAV, the Scarab, the drone package, the counter UAV. So those are your base ones. Pretty straightforward. UAV, counter UAV, we all know what those are. Drone package replacing care package, and Scarab, I do believe that's going to be something like an HCXD, so I'm not very happy about that. We've got the Vulture returning, which was in Black Ops 2, I believe, or maybe it was in Ghosts. I think it was in Ghosts. The Trinity rocket, which looks a lot more like a dart than a Trinity rocket. We've got Scorchers, which are kind of like lightning strike, but they fly across the map and they shoot down this laser beam that kind of arcs across the map and does damage in a straight line, which is pretty cool. Bombardment looks like a Hellstorm missile. Shock Sentry we have here, which is a turret that fires electrically charged rounds and inflicts damage to the target and nearby enemies. So it's going to hit a target and then it's going to like arc off like the Tempest kind of and damage other enemies. The next score streak that we have is the Warden, which is an escort dropship with 2 firing modes. I don't know if this is going to be, because it says escort dropship, I have a feeling it's going to be AI, like it's going to control itself, but maybe we have to control it because it says it's got 2 firing modes and maybe you have to switch between the firing modes. I'm not sure. We've got the Thor, the tactical high output response missile system with rapid launching capabilities. This is like an AC-130 more or less. It flies way up in the air and it shoots like multiple Hellstorm missiles and stuff. It looks pretty crazy. It's going to cost 1300 score, which is actually pretty low for such a high-powered ability or a high-powered score streak. Then we've got the RC8. This is where we start to get crazy. You've seen this one in the multiplayer overview video, and this is a heavily armored C8 with auto and manual control capabilities. Basically the GI unit, but way better. It's like the GI unit's daddy. The RC8 is extremely hard to kill. It has an awesome launcher on its side that will just like insta-kill enemies, and it's got shields, and you can either have it escort you and walk around behind you, or you can manually control it. You can just hunker down, take it out, and control it yourself, which would be really crazy. The AP3X is the final score streak, which we don't actually get to look at here, but you do see it in the multiplayer overview very quickly. It's actually very small, and it kind of flies around at ground level, but it's very, very powerful. It's got like these dual wield kind of like Gatling guns, and it just like flies around at ground level and just wrecks everybody. So it looks like it's going to be pretty crazy as well. Those are the score streaks that we had an eye on multiplayer in this multiplayer overview. I don't know if we're going to have more score streaks. Like I said, it seems like there's not as many in that list, and it seems like there needs to be more like mid-tier score streaks, because not a lot of people are going to be able to get like 1800 to get like that APX, like that special final score streak. So, or like even the RC8 or anything like that. So I don't know if they're going to add extra ones in the middle or what they're going to do, but it definitely seems like there should be more score streaks in the game. Last thing that we need to talk about here is the new game modes. There was 4 new game modes that were shown in this video, and they go by them extremely quickly. It was very hard to get these, even going frame by frame. These are like mid-frame, like they fly by really quickly. So we're taking a look at 4 of the new standard modes, and if you'll notice at the top of the menu, there's actually alternate modes as well. So that's going to be like your ground war, your hardcore, and probably bonus playlists like infection and stuff like that, maybe returning for your alternate modes. But in standard modes, we have 4 new game modes, which between you and me, likely no one's going to be playing. Generally, when there's a ton of game modes, like there's a lot of people play the new game modes at the beginning of the game, then like 2 months in, people stop playing those new game modes and they just go back to like the classics like Team Deathmatch, Domination. So I don't know how well these game modes are going to do. The first game mode that we're talking about is Frontline, and it's directly under Team Deathmatch, and it is kill players on the opposing team. You always spawn at your base. The first team to reach the score limit wins. I am sketched right out about this game mode. Always spawn at your base. This sounds like Spawn Trap-a-Palooza to me. It seems like no matter what, you're always going to spawn in the exact same spot, and your entire team is going to spawn in the exact same spot, and the enemy team is just going to be able to spawn trap you for days. So I don't know how this game mode's going to work, how it's going to differ from Team Deathmatch, but it's got me worried with this. You always spawn at your base business. I'm kind of concerned. The next game mode that we have is Grind, which is more or less Fracture from Black Ops 3. Recover dog tags and take them to the objective marker to score for your team. I don't know if it's going to be exactly like Fracture, where if you get killed carrying multiple dog tags, you drop them all, or if you just drop 1 dog tag when you die. The next game mode is Reinforce, which is a game mode that came back from Call of Duty Ghosts, and it is capture points to revive fallen teammates, take all points to win the round. So that's kind of like, I believe it was in Ghosts. It came out as like a DLC game mode in Ghosts. It wasn't in Ghosts from the launch. It just kind of got added in, and not a lot of people played it, but it was a really cool game mode. It's kind of like a twist on Search and Destroy. It's like a Search and Destroy domination type game. The last game mode they really focused on in the multiplayer overview, and that is Defender, and that is like the uplink drone. You got to hold on to it to score points. It's basically keep away. So you're holding onto the drone and you're trying to keep it away from the other team. If they come and try and kill you, you throw it to your teammate and you keep going. Whoever holds the drone the longest gets the most points and wins the game. So those are the 4 new game modes that they showed during this multiplayer overview. We've discussed weapons, attachments, lethals, combat rigs, score streaks, and game modes in this video. That is absolutely everything I could possibly find in this multiplayer overview for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. This was a lot of work to put together. I know it's a really long video, but that's just kind of what you get for this. Is a massive trailer, and it just went so quickly, and there was so many little details, and all the writing on it was like super small, so you couldn't see it when it was going by really quick. So this was just like a video that I had to make. I was like, there was so much information in this video that so many people are going to miss. So it was a huge, just massive undertaking to make this video. So I would appreciate it extremely if you could hit the like button, if you could share this video with your friends that are interested in Infinite Warfare. Even if your friends are saying, Infinite Warfare is going to be ass, share it with them anyways. They might watch this video and be like, oh wow, like there's a lot of really cool things in this game, the new weapon traits and all that stuff. There's a lot of really cool things in this game, and I want you guys to be able to share that with each other. And like I said, it was a lot of work to put this video together. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, if you're still with us at this point, and share this video as much as you possibly can. I will be posting this video to GameSkinny as well. So if you're on GameSkinny, head over to my YouTube page and hit that subscribe button if you're interested in more Call of Duty content in the future. That is just about it for today's video, guys. Very long video, but so much details. There's so much in this trailer that needed to be covered, and now that I've covered it, I'm going to be doing some other kind of Black Ops 3 news and stuff on my channel the next couple days. I still have to do a bunch of Titanfall stuff. I still have to do a Battlefield 1 beta video, and then I need to talk about my personal recommendation, my personal feelings about Infinite Warfare so far. This video has been more or less just straight to the fact, whereas I need to make a video where I want to talk about how I personally feel about the reveal, which should be going out probably tomorrow or the next day. So that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, subscribe, share this video with all your friends, and I'll see you guys on the next one.